It's your friendly neighborhood web brand designer here, Canva Tip Weekly. We're back at it. Thank you so much to those of you who tuned in for Square Summit and or the Your Social Team Conference. Last week's was pre-recorded, so I don't think I said anything, but thank you so much for attending. If you're here from that, let me know in the comments or respond to your email. I'd love to say hello. On today's Canva Tip Weekly, we're going to be talking about texture, how to add texture and utilize overlays for your brand. If you came from my presentation, you know signature brand elements are really important to me. If you didn't come from my presentation, let me tell you, signature brand elements are really important to me. Your brand cannot just make up of a logo, colors, and fonts. You're going to need more stuff to play around with. Really important. So one of those things might be a cool texture or a cool photo style. So I'm going to be going over a couple of different types of textures and then also applying it with my own brand because I love texture. So couple things. There are there are three types of textures, I'm going to say. The first one is going to be maybe more of this like rich, I don't really have a word for it, these types where it's like a material, like a velvet, this sort of like, I don't know, holographic-y thing, or maybe even something like this. You might be looking at these and saying, Olivia, like, those are a lot. Like, this isn't in my color palette. Well, it's actually really easy to make something like this your color palette, right? We're going to do that in two ways. The first way is going to be, let's say you want to have like a velvety texture here and then text over here on the right. You can hit R, right? R is our hotkey for a rectangle, R, right? R. You're going to cover this whole thing here. And then I'm going to change this to my brand green right here. I'm going to come up to the top right where the transparency is, and we're just going to take that on down like that. Check it out. Now it's actually easier to see if I do put text over it like this. Boop, boop, boop. Let's make me smaller. Da-da-da. Now this is actually so much easier to see. You can also go a step further because obviously a little bit of this color is shining through. You can come over here to edit image and take the saturation all the way down. That way none of that color is shining through and only the texture is shining through. So check it out. I can now change this to orange, my yellow. Ooh, that's kind of a nice goldy, velvety. The pink doesn't really work because it's pulling too much of the dark. So this one's going to work better for darker colors. But I really like this sort of velvety gold. The second way you can do this, I'm going to copy this one because it's really cool. And then I'm going to flip it like this, right click, replace background. Now, how on earth do I get this to be a little bit more toned down, right? You're going to notice that if I come over here and change this to pink, it's going to completely change the background. We don't want that. So I'm going to Command Z and undo. What you want to do first is take the transparency down, right? And then you can come over here and change the color because now Canva recognizes that there's a color in the background to change to. So I'm going to go with my brand pink here. Boop, take this on down a little bit more and look how cool that is. Now this is a really cool textured background that I could have fun with in presentations, designs. If you still don't like it, then you can come over to edit image and actually tinker around with some of these settings. Get to know them, right? Maybe I want this to be a little bit brighter. Oh, I do. Maybe I want the contrast to stand out or get a little bit less, right? X process, I believe, is more of the look at that, colors. Vignette is going to add black around the corners. You can make things warmer, less warm. You can see that that's going to be a little bit closer to my brand because I have a warmer brand. And then the rest of these, I don't really think. Well, highlights maybe I would add. So tinker around with these settings, and then you're going to see now I've got this cool texture here. So I'm going to do both of these styles one more time again with these flowers. So I'm going to hit the plus sign. We're going to stick these flowers right here. And yes, I like them, but I really want to overlap some text. So I'm going to hit R. Yay, R. I'm going to put this right on top. I'm going to take that down to be more like this, right? Here we are. We're going to do like a cool, so now you can see it's much easier to see my text on top of that, whereas that's going to be, excuse me, much harder. Now, if I wanted to make this green and now I'm like, oh, I really don't want any of that color, I'm going to go edit image, take the saturation all the way down, Look at that. So now the contrast here isn't good. So probably I would take my background to like orange and make this white. And now this is easy to see all the way across. And to do that with this type of background, I'm going to right click, replace background, take the transparency all the way down. It still has some orange there. I actually really like this. This is cool to me, so I'm gonna leave it. What a cool way to add patterns to, or add a cool texture to your brand. So if you're like, oh, like I really don't know what to do with my brand and I want something really cool, start tinkering around, start finding cool textures, velvet, holographic, all kind of stuff. Another thing you can do is do the vector version, right? So this is all pixel based, it's photos, right? Oh, never mind. I wanted to cover paper. So paper is another really great one. So paper, I would say, is the reverse, where these are usually going to look better on light. So something like this like crinkly crafty right here, if you take this all the way down, you're just going to get a nice slight subtle, let's remove these, a nice slight subtle texture. And actually, yeah, why did that look like that? Yeah, that's better. Look at that. So for those of you with sort of craftier brands, earthier brands, maybe you do agriculture, landscaping, this is looking really, really gorgeous. How fun is that? The next one would be this paper right here. Let's see, let's make sure I get this. Let's flip it this way so that it doesn't hyperpixelate. Boop. Replace background, and make sure you take the transparency down first. And now I'm actually going to change this one to my brand pink, and look how cool that is. This works really well for teacher, coaches, anything like that. I also love this like crinkly, this one's really pretty. Take the transparency down. Look at that. Now you can just see the nice subtle flex right here. Olivia, where did you find these things? Over in photos, just type in paper texture. There's tons of things you can start to use. And of course, if you really love something, you can hit the 3 dots and add to a folder. I have a folder called Canva Finds. So all the stuff that I find in Canva, it's under my Let's Go brand folder. It is right here. So I have a folder where I add things from Canva that I love. So start working on that. Or figure out the type of texture that you like. I love the blurry flower situation. Like this one is super, super great. Don't forget you can click the 3 dots and do see more like this and look at all this cool. This is called bokeh. This like blurry lights you might love. Watercolor is another great one. Holographic is another really good one. Look at all of these. Ooh, oh my gosh. Oh, that's really pretty. I like whatever that is. We're going to keep that for me. So try experimenting with adding texture to your brand. Another way you can do this, now here we are, is through the vector version, right? So a vector means it's color changeable because it's a single color and it has to do with math rather than pixels, right? So you're going to notice immediately that this is just a bunch of speckles here, but I can actually make these white and blow this up, and you can kind of see how subtle that now looks, right? I could also make this my neon mint and make my background like maybe pink, and you can see how cool that looks, right? To get that kind of texture effect, you're actually going to come over to elements, and you see where I typed in grunge. There's just tons. This halftone is really cool. I've done a couple of halftone brands before. Super rad. I love a cool halftone. You make sure you click on graphics. Let's see. You could do stuff like this, something like that. It's awesome. It's a great, great, great way to add a texture. So now if you're scratching your head like, Olivia, I'm just not really sure how I would use this. I wanted to quickly also whip together some of my own branded posts that I'll probably post on Instagram this week. So I'm going to use my green here, and I am going to use this conference presentation that I just did. And I wanted to grab a quote, which was, the number one thing you can do for your brand is keep it organized. The number one thing you can do for your brand is organize it and grow it, right? So let's say I've got this great quote here. Awesome. This to me isn't riveting, right? I want a little bit of texture. So I'm going to come over to elements and type in, let's actually see if I can get texture, like a graphic. Oh, ugh, like the plastic, it's cool, and I see a lot of edgy brands using it, but it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't know why. I just can't do it. I prefer something like this, and you might be like, whoa, Olivia, like yellow and like that doesn't work for your brand at all. I know. That's why I'm going to take this all the way down like this, and see, now it's much, much, much more subtle. I'm going to toss a logo up here. I'm going to make my logo pink. Yes, my logo is color changeable in Canva, which yours can be too. Just reach out to me or watch one of my other previous videos. I'm going to change this to my brand font so that it's a little cooler looking. Why did I put a break right there? I don't know. I'm going to highlight this word and this word and this word. Boom, 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 boom. And then I'm going to say Olivia Conference. And then I'm going to come over here to Montserrat Classic, all caps, take this down to probably like 30. Ooh, no, even less than that. I wouldn't go below 25. That's going to be, it looks really big right here, but it's really not, because really it's more like that. Awesome. Now check it out. Now I've got kind of a nice texture-y situation here. But like I said, I'm really jamming with those blurry flowers lately. So let's go back over to, well, I really like whatever's happening here. So maybe let's try this out. We're going to take the transparency down. Obviously, it doesn't look good on that green, but I bet it's going to look cool. Oh my goodness. Look at her. Wow, I really love that. So see how I'm using the really cool aspect of this texture, but now it's still in my brand files? I'm really jamming with that. I might even add that as like a background or something. Olivia, blurry flowers, focus, focus, focus. So let's see here. See more like this? No, I know. It's called, there's a whole series on Canva. They're blurry flowers, and I love them. It's like this set. And they're really cool. I think I want this to be my pink. So I'm actually going to take this down to the pink. Yeah, that's cute. But now obviously I need to change my logo, this type to black. Yeah, cute. I am going to desaturate this. Yeah, that makes it more gray though. Yeah, I like the pink tones. Ooh, yeah, cool. So now you can see just by using Canva elements, I've added a lot of really cool visual interest and texture to this brand. I think it's a lot of fun. So go today, figure out texture, figure out overlays. Overlays is the, overlay is what I did here. This is what we call an overlay because I'm overlaying a color on top of this. So go try this out. Add some signature brand elements to your brand, figure out what textures work for you. It'll really help you create designs a lot faster. You can see how I created these quick, like I could post any of these right now and they would totally blend in with my brand. Got any questions or interested in a future Canva tip that you're interested in seeing? Comment or respond. Thanks so much.